Yeah, that's us. We're good to go now.
Good.
Yeah.
Andy, we've now come to the end of the second day of the Art of Hosting training in Scotland. And I'd like to ask you a few questions, but first could you tell us a brief outline of your background and the sectors you've worked in?
Yes, my name is Andy Lippock, and I've worked in HR for a number of years, and got rather disillusioned as it appeared to me that it was Einstein's definition of madness, doing the same thing time and time again and expecting different results. But more recently been working in contracting and particularly in systems thinking.
And over the last 2 days we've been learning about the art of participative management, or participative leadership, should I say. How do you think this could be used in Scotland?
I think it could be certainly used as an alternative way of doing leadership. I think it's a far better and more effective way of getting people to gain from people exactly what they want and from what matters to them. So as an alternative way to command and control, top-down type heroic leadership.
So how would you place this compared to what's being used at present? Do you see it's an additional tool or a replacement tool? Or how would you put it in context with what is currently being used, Andy?
I would certainly think it would be used as an alternative. I think although there are some times where perhaps management or leadership from a top down might be more appropriate to get some energy to get something started, but in terms of gathering what people want and what matters to them, I think this is a far better and more effective way of participatory leadership.
And what sort of support do you think that is needed to help spread the word of the art of participative leadership and actually put into practice some of the tools we've learned in the last few days? What sort of support do you think is needed by the wider community and also the government?
Yeah. Well, I would certainly say that in two different ways, from a government perspective, in terms of the political leadership as well as the civil service leadership, I think need to engage and help and support communities as well as within the government itself as an organisation to use the methodologies and the approaches to gain more input from employees, civil servants, and government to maybe share and support it within local authorities and community councils and much more widely, and be almost like seeding in terms of the approach. And the other thing I think needs to be in place is a community of practitioners, and perhaps also having a core of senseis, so experts to whom the practitioners can go to if they need additional input, so that we become self-sufficient in Scotland.
I mean, we've learned the techniques of the World Cafe and also
open space.
Open space. And I think, as you said, they would be fantastic for things like community council, but they'll also be in the business world to help the business world move forward. And you've come from a business environment. Have you got a few words to say about that, Andy?
Yes, absolutely. I think there's the energy and the output that came from a group of 60 people who had a big question, and through the method of the open space as one approach where there were 16 conversations, but in the World Cafe the output and quality and quantity and belief in what people were putting forward I think was just visionary, and lots of practical ideas as well, and certainly would set an agenda for what government and organisations could achieve. And I think also certainly in the private sector, organisations could use the same methodology.
The Scottish Government have been very supportive in bringing this forward to Scotland, the art of hosting. Have you got one question that you would like to feed back to them? Yeah,
I think the simple question for me would be, right, are you up for it?
Thank you, Andy, and we'll have another enjoyable day tomorrow at the Art of Hosting Scotland.
Thank you very much indeed.
That's a wrap.